Alright, got it pulled up in the driveway. Like I said, 460 swapping that. And let's just show you, excuse all the treasures, the 460 itself. So this big block's kind of a mystery to me. The mystery big block 460. I don't know anything about it. I kind of picked it up from a guy I met at a car meet. He said, I have the perfect engine for your car. And this is what he sold me. I mean, it looks really good. He said it's ready to drop in. I'm not too sure what kind of camshafts in it or anything. He said nothing mild, like crazy when I asked him, but kind of got everything here. The cherry picker, little block plate, kind of moved it up in here just for storage wise. But now, you know, we got to start pulling these things out and swap things. The new distributor, of course, I'm probably just going to put my Petronics in it. And it's missing a bunch of gaskets, like out of the intake and stuff like that. Missing some bolts and hardware. I actually picked this up with only like a couple bolts holding this intake on. So I don't know how things didn't go crazy. But with that, I'm going to start tearing out. It has a 351 modified, which is like a 400. They're okay engines. You know, you put a camshaft and intake on it. They're not too bad. But, you know, it's just... With that one, it was my first build. I built it maybe 2020. And it's been reliable ever since first start, you know. And it hasn't given up on me yet, you know. But it's kind of going there, if that makes any sense. I think the pistons are just really worn out. But I'm going to start tearing into, I believe, my car first. Take out, you know, radiator, exhaust, motor mounts, accessories, and get it ready to yank out pretty much. So that's what I'm going to start on. It is 104 degrees outside, so save me. And as you see, why is it doing that? It's a good thing I'm swapping you. You're doing funny things. But so I'm going to probably start with the radiator, drain all the coolant. I wonder if that's because of my heater core. Probably. But rocky nowhere intake and stuff like that. But yeah, I gotta tear all this stuff apart and get it all beaten down and yanked out of here. So I'm just gonna grind on that, keep you guys updated where I go and how far I get along today. I have 5 days to do this, by the way. So all right. Yo, we got the umbrella and the jack. Of course, it's a day with like no clouds, not a single cloud in sight. So I'm working with what I got. Save me. All right, it's been like probably 2 hours, an hour. Got pretty much everything yanked out of the way. Loose, body grounds and stuff like that. Hoses, power steering. So now that I'm here, here are the really tedious, sucky parts. Exhaust and motor mounts. And also flywheel bolts inside the torque converter, which are behind the starter down here. So that's all I have left, and that's the stuff that kind of takes the longest. And you know, if you get an engine that's pretty rusty or something, high chance your exhaust bolts are breaking and stuff like that, and you're gonna have a whole trip. But I've taken these off before. I know they come out and stuff like that, so not sure how I'm gonna do it. I'm probably gonna try and aim for the 2 back bolts back there if they're not stuck. If not, I'm just gonna take all the bolts out here and just pull the engine, then get the manifolds out. But yeah, so gonna keep diving into it. Hopefully get all those bolts out and jump back to it, and I'll keep you guys updated once again.
Hey, it's me.
So I did take the starter out, and as you can see, if I can get a clear view out of this transmission line, move. Right there, there's a bolt. Those are your torque converter bolts, and there should be 4 of them. And you just gotta spin the motor around, and they'll come around each one. It's easier to get them out of the starter. They do give you a little inspection plate here, so I'll take this one off too to see if it's gonna be easier. But getting there, and then after my car's been trying to secretly kill me, if you look at that bolt. And that goes to my control arm. So if that would have fallen out, this whole control arm would have fallen out and probably taken the whole front end with it. That would have been fun. This one over here is tight. Barely. It looks like it's going loose too. Great. But other than that, just I don't like you. Some motor mount bolts, one on each side, and then I'll be pulling this engine here soon, hopefully. So I'll be back. Oh, I don't know how I forgot, but I also have bell housing bolts and exhaust bolts as well. So not done. I lied. All right, finally coming down to the last final steps. Just got to get the hood off because I don't think that's gonna clear that when I get an engine hoist and stuff in there. But I've taken everything loose. Engine plate ready on. Exhaust, kind of just checking the list off. Checked all the ground wires are loose. There's some on the back. There's always one on the back of your engine you guys be careful with. One on the front, of course. Probably gonna dump water everywhere because I don't know, unless I pull that little drain plug out of the block right there. But she's ready to pull, so I just gotta get this hood off and get her out. All right, we got muscles. Oos. We're gonna get this hood off so I can get the engine out. Just got 2 bolts left in it. She's probably got it by herself. All right. I think I'm gonna try an aim for that middle hole. Pulling it straight out like that would be probably the best.
This is the wisest shoe option you have.
Yep. Slides are not, nothing. A little over. That's it right there. Felt it. We're on now. Look, it's like the perfect clearance between my bumper. Like, reaches it perfectly.
Yeah.
You pan over quickly or something like that. This is like super close. It's meant to be. Alright, I'm gonna start jacking it up now. Hook, you don't go nowhere. I should have all the bolts on. Lift the car a bit. Come on. Doesn't want to leave its home. There we go.
There.
Alright, let me get a jack underneath the transmission to hold it in place so it doesn't just plop down. Alright, we've got a jack underneath the transmission to hold it in place. We're going to continue pulling her up. That's just so the transmission doesn't drop any farther down. Oh, she's going to be coming up a little bit. Should I give it a wiggle? Oh. Come on. Right, let's check. Kind of keep it in the back of the engine. Make sure we're not hitting anything. I swear I got all the bell housing bolts off, but it doesn't look like it wants to separate. Let me check and see if I missed a bolt somewhere hidden, so I'll be right back. Alright. Doesn't want to let go on this side. I don't think there's any bolts. I checked, so. Oh, there we go. Yeah. She's free now. Yep, so separated right down here. You just gotta get a pry bar sometimes. Alright, let's continue jacking this thing up, pull it out. Let me see if I can pull it forward a little bit. Yep.
Ooh.
Don't tell my mom I spilled coolant everywhere. I could jack the engine up faster, maybe. Let's be honest, we all saw this coming. Yeah, this is too cool. gonna get a shot of it.
Oh.
Yeah, we got a pan on there. Alright, how are we looking in the back? We clear back there? I don't see anything grabbing. Looks pretty free to me. Gotta watch the dipstick over there. It's touching the manifold. But she's ready to come. I'm just gonna let it pee a little bit and then we'll pull it out the west of the way. No peeing. Pull it a little bit more. Good boy. Alright, we just gotta go up now. Always at this point double check to see if you have any, you know, lines or cables bolted to your engine that you missed. Because those always suck to yank out last minute. I am on the other hand all good. See, if I would have drained it out of the block, it probably wouldn't be peeing out the front right now. But oopsie daisies. Kind of looking back here. What do we got? It's just the wire. Hold it, kick down, hold it. On three. This grout's not helping me. Yeah, that's it. In my book. I'm gonna let it pee here. We'll be right back. All right, as you can see, got the engine out. That's cracked. Wasn't too bad. Came out pretty quick. Now that I'm here, I'm probably just gonna clean this out. Probably tomorrow though. Kind of done for the day, and that was a lot, especially in the heat. I do got to change out those two frame mounts for the 460 because they are wider. I'll show you guys here in a second. And yeah, that went pretty smooth. I mean, well, what's that? That kind of looks like remnants of my old. I had a starter blow up on this one time, and it did not look pretty when it came out. But let me show you those mounts over here. So these are those beefy frame mounts. They'll sit something like this over there and stuff like that. As you can see, a lot wider, sits a lot more forward. So it is a longer engine by a little bit, but everything should fit up pretty nicely once I get this on here. Kind of worried about accessories and stuff like that, but you know, I'll get there when I get there. And exhaust, of course. I'm not sure that's gonna line up at all. They kind of look similar, but I'm not too sure. All right, well, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. All right, what is up, gang? Day 2. Now, it is a heat wave today. There's some clouds this time, but 115. It's ridiculous. As you can see, really dirty up in here, greasy. I'm just gonna go through with some engine degreaser, heavy duty. Give it a good soak, and then get the power washer and just blast everything. Maybe paint some things if they need it, but other than that, pretty much just start digging around and scraping things out. Probably take my gearbox out because I do got a new one, because I do want power steering back into this. That gearbox is really bad. But yeah, it is really hot, so let me get moving. All right, kind of got it all sprayed down soaking. I might have to get in there with a brush and agitate it, but it's not too heavy of a buildup. It's kind of getting everywhere. All right, while the sun is being mean and burning everything alive, I'm gonna be tearing into my power steering pump. I do have a reman core right here, so I have to take all this apart. And I believe take this front section out is what it looks like on these pumps. So I'm gonna just get this pulley off, tear into it, and then hopefully that'll be good. I didn't see any seals in this one, so I might have to reuse seals. All right, just probably spent way too long on this thing. There's a high chance it leaks and probably doesn't work. This case is annoying to slide over, but I got the old one out. Spins really, I don't know. You can hear that. So this one kind of has a weird tight spots. I don't know. Maybe it just needs broken in. Who knows? I guess we'll see when we put it in the car. But I've spent way too long on that. I'm gonna get to power washing. All right, so I'm up in here. Got it painted. Got the new brackets that are gonna sit something like this, or like this. There we go. Something like that. Except this one goes over here. And if you notice, they all have an extra hole drilled, and that's for these motor mounts because they sit a little higher. So bam. So gonna get all the hardware in here and bolt these up, probably get them a tss, and then call it a day. It is night on me, but perfect time to be working out here. No sun to kill you, so gonna get jamming. All right, got those two bolted in, so ignore the impact. Gonna start taking the gearbox out, pull that out, get it swapped out real quick, and then should be prepped and ready, done in here. Now I can actually, I know I've been saying it a lot, actually focus on the engine. Oil pan raises some concern. I'll show you guys in a minute. Like I said, it's late and I forgot to give an update, but so far working on these gearboxes, swapping old to new. So yeah, it's like midnight almost, so I gotta kind of pack it up in here soon, but locked right now. All right, it is day number 3, and here it is, the big block itself, the 460. Just ran over at AutoZone to get the bolts I need for like the brackets and intake, and I have motor mount ones and stuff like that, but as you can see, it's upside down, but this is a Dove cylinder head on both sides, and this block I believe is a Dove block somewhere. It says it as well. I can't remember quite where it is on this, but yeah, Dove heads. So those are really good heads. They really were the horsepower makers back in the day for these 460s and stuff like that. But right now I'm gonna finish bolting up accessories, get them all shimmed out, right? Because as you can see, I did modify this off of my 400. I did drill it out to fit the water pump on this one. So I do got to shim it forward a little bit to get it onto this belt, so then I can line it up with the power steering, so I can run the crank, water pump, and power steering off one belt. And then, of course, I got to change out this oil pan. I believe he was swapping this into a Maverick, something small, so it had that specific oil pan. But yeah, I got to change out a couple things like this oil sensor for my old one. But yeah, it's just going to be a lot of swap and play right now. 101. But yeah. So this is the Edelbrock Performer intake. I know a lot of people love the YN Stealth intakes. Those are pretty good ones I've heard for the 460, but I just don't have that. So, and then I'm gonna pop off the intake, see what's under here. I don't know what's under these covers. These are very tall, so maybe roller rockers, I'm thinking. I don't know. Once again, I don't know much about this engine, just that it's a 460 with Dove heads. All right, I'll keep you guys updated. All right, so this is kind of the front setup I got going on so far. I wish I could space this back more, but I guess you can see pretty straight on. Just will pull it back a little bit more, but it's got to come out with a spacer here and a spacer here, and then I got to get a shorter belt, of course, for here. But did have to shim them out a little bit. I'm not sure if you see, there's a washer right down there, but you know, just spacing things out. So that's probably going to be the front side, and I had to bring this forward a little bit to line up with this, but all lines up. There is some clearance, tiny, but it's there, so that should work. But yeah, gonna go ahead and take off that cap off there just to save room, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe pull this super, I'm not sure, bolt on the brackets for each side, and then bolt the intake down because I just want to get this engine in my car ready. I don't want to spend any more time just sitting and staring at it. I need some motivation, so gonna take this all back apart and then get it ready to put in my car because that needs to get done today. So I was just getting ready to put this oil pan in and stuff like that, but as you can see, completely stripped out. I tried getting a new bolt, seeing if it would thread in there, and it started ruining those threads, so I'm not going to go and do that. I'm just going to go get a repair kit and hopefully fix this up so I can put it on because I really do need this oil pan. Alright, and there's the repair on that oil pan. Had this little kit, went a little crazy with the JB weld to make sure it doesn't unthread out, but yeah, just gonna let that dry, set up. I did swap the old oil pump on. Yeah. All right, and then did swap over the oil pump and oil pickup tube. Here's the old one. This is the old oil pan. Put it all back on. Can you guys see up under there? Can anybody see the pistons? Sorry, I can't really show you guys, but engine has been run before, so maybe that's a good thing. Don't have to do a break-in. Not too sure. I'll probably still do a break-in, but getting back to it. All right, ready to put her in. It's gonna be a little bit of a hassle to twist, pull, lift, drop, bring forward, line up, but we'll get it. All right, we'll cut back to when hopefully the engine's dropped in or Derek's dead, one of the two. Just got the engine. Kind of a pain. A little funny with the transmission, it's a little sideways, but as you can see, I had a lot of fun getting this thing in here. But it's in. I'm gonna eat it falling out. Great success.
Look at these shots.
As you can see, in the back, transmission where it's mating, it's close. So kind of shoot it back here, show them up. It's close, but have a little wiggling and got to line up the torque converter bolts and stuff like that, but it's about there, man. All right, and then just gonna go ahead and get the bell housing bolts in, torque converter bolts in. And I'm calling it for today. Tomorrow, I'll wrap up everything else, hopefully.
Ooh.
All right, guys, it is the day after the next day. As you can see, I got all the bell housing bolts on, transmission pulled to the engine. I just gotta get the torque converter bolts on, and this engine will be in place. And I do gotta tighten one bolt up here, but it is the day after the next day. I did not work on it yesterday, unfortunately, so this is my 5th day, unfortunately, so I'm gonna have to try and see what I can get done today. And yeah, new day, let's get to it. All right, and got the whole engine bolted in, set in place. I'm just using the starter off of my old engine. It was new, and it should fit right up to this one. So one thing with movie magic, YouTube magic, I did have to take that back off to realign the torque plate or flex plate and torque converter, because on those torque converters, I'll show you right now. So up on these torque converters, if you notice, there's a drain plug or some kind of plug. I'm not too sure what it's for, but for some reason on the flex plate, it only gave me 2 options. So I had a 50-50 chance to line this up right, and of course, with my luck, I lined it up wrong. So I had to pull the engine, separate it from the transmission, and get it lined up so this wasn't pushing on that flex plate, causing it to warp or anything like that. So yeah, and then also one more thing. Pulled the valve covers off, and we got some, looks like comp cams roller rockers up in here, so that's pretty sick. Curious to see what's under there. I guess we'll find out when we get there, but that's awesome. Very, like, some of them are very, you know, on it. So just gonna go over them, check them all real quick, and then start dressing this bad boy up with all the accessories and vacuum ports I need and stuff like that for my conversion. So radiator might not fit with the fan. See how far forward. I don't think that's definitely not the right pulley, but working with what I got right now. So kind of just want to point out something that I might have discovered. I'm not sure if this is how factory came or not, but it does look like there was port work done to these cylinder heads. They've definitely been run before, so that's kind of a good thing. I'm not sure if that cam's been broken in. Kind of does look like it's been run, so. It is also double springed on the springs for the valve springs as well. Another thing I noticed, so. Pretty good parts on this, like head work done and stuff like that. That's pretty good. So, don't know what we're looking at for horsepower, but it should be pretty strong as a motor, so. Just gonna change out that oil sensor back in the back because it does this suspicious movement and I don't like it. If I start it up, and it's the last thing I would want. So all right, so just laid down some Edelbrock intake gaskets. Those look pretty clean. Did kind of trim up the corners on some where the gasket goes. You can just bend those out of the way as well, like the head gasket, so it sits better, but they're supposed to work like that. But if your head gasket's weird, it's gonna make it sit funny, but you want it to sit pretty even around the circles so you don't have any leaks of air or anything like that. And then did put RTV around this water jacket, probably gonna dab some up on the outside as well. But I did that just to kind of get this glued in place so when I set the intake on, it doesn't really move around too much. And then don't forget this, that would suck really bad. All right, this is probably gonna be the final update for the morning, I guess. It's like 1 a.m. But kind of lined everything up, got everything in place that's supposed to be in place for the cooling system. I'm surprised it all fit. That fan fits pretty good in there. I'm just gonna bring the radiator closer like that and it'll be perfect. Has like a thumbs gap, so it's totally fine, and when it flexes it should be fine. But I'm tired, so yeah, I mean, it looks good in there with those valve covers. It's gonna be so clean. Yeah, all up in there. Just gotta come up with the throttle bracketies. This one isn't gonna work. And yeah, no, everything else pretty much is mocking up pretty good. I think the fuel pump I have is gonna be a little bit skinnier than that one. That one's too wide, but the one I have coming is a little narrower. Yeah. All right, what is up? Back, finally. It's been like a week. But now I can start putting things on. Like belts. This is a little 34-inch belt, fits perfectly right there. And my other belt back there as well. And I got a bunch of other parts like a braking oil and stuff like that. And a M12 1.75 drain bolt for my oil pan, since I used that one kit. That's the size you're gonna need. And a bunch of fittings and stuff like that for like water necks and stuff like that. Got a bunch of those. And then, yeah, just gotta slam exhaust on, spark plugs back in. I am gonna crank it over with a starter before I go any farther to make sure it works and everything spins. So might just do that real quick, twirl it over and see what it do. All right, sorry, this is the biggest screwdriver I can find. Let's see. Sounds a little sus, but it spins over. Sweet. All right, so just gonna go through, probably set it back on top dead center. I did have it on there before, but let's do it again real quick and stick my finger over there, wait for the air to blow out on number one. But all right, cool. That's good progress. Sweet. All right, nice and tight and looking good. Sweet. All right, now that this thing can hold some fluids now, we're gonna pour some braking oil in here. Oh, yeah, check the pour. And then get some oil in here. Check that bolt holds some oil. And prime this system here soon. Coming along. Just gonna let that drip, get my money's worth. Over at Home Depot, I went and got some adapter fittings, 5/8 and a half, for my heater core. Had one up here, I just copied that one, and sure enough, it's perfectly right there. All right, priming the oil on the system. Got a janky little setup here going on, but as you can see, that's what you want to see is oil. So I'm just gonna go ahead and prime it all Make sure everything's getting oil. It's getting oil pressure so fast. Make sure it gets oil everywhere that it's supposed to, and then yeah, should be ready to fire here soon. Just trying to, yeah, it's awesome. This setup's so funny. I have like a little adapter that goes into it. Alright, and just got my engine spun over to top dead center. I'm not sure if you guys can see that mark down there. That little blue pointer. That one right there. It's pointing right at 0. The compression stroke. Compression blew out my thumb. And looks like I'm making this one number 1. That's where the rotor's pointing. And that way I'm not pushing up against this, and I have plenty of swing for adjustment. So, just gonna get that all bolted down now. Get my plug wires run. And yeah, get those valve covers on. And start hooking up some vacuum lines and stuff like that, and should be ready to start it. All right, Derek in the key, bro. Yep. Nice, dude, that sounds good. All right, bad news truck. Went to fill it up with coolant. Started leaking out, I believe, the timing cover gasket right here. So I'm already tearing into it, pulling it off so I can put that new gasket, seal it up, and probably pull that fitting out right there and put some Teflon on it. It looks sketchy. But yeah, a little unfortunate, sets me back a bit. Kind of puts all the work I did yesterday for no reason, kind of. But it's a good thing I got that leak as soon as it started, so I didn't waste too much coolant. All right, smacked the new seal in here, cleaned up all the gasket surfaces. They're pretty rough, so I wish I could get a new one of these, but I can't because of time. Double roller cam, timing chain, pretty sick. But yeah, it's a good thing I did come in here. It was the shaft was pretty rusty, cleaned that up and stuff like that. So just was an engine that sat for a minute, so it's got to slap this all back together and bolt everything back together. Hopefully it doesn't leak. All right, I am back again. Got all the water pump sealed up and stuff like that, so hopefully it holds water this time. That was really unfortunate. Took me back. I forgot I did that. It's holding the throttle cable. It works for now. So yeah, I'm just gonna run it and then do a 20-minute break in, 2,000 RPM, rev in between, break this engine in, drain the oil, and hopefully go for a ride today because this car's been sitting too long. I gotta finish this. So got the swamper for the fan to keep it cool. Hopefully just burp the system and everything goes smooth. All right, ready for about like 15, 20 minutes at a high idle. It's spicy. All right, another beautiful day, and we're back. Here it is. We got the exhaust done. So it's not only a lot quieter, but bearable to drive around in. The last test drive was a couple months ago. It's been a while, man. Projects get away from you, but let's show you if I can see the pipes in here. Yep, there we go. Got it all connected. Let's just give it a nice little start real quick. I did have it warmed up, so it's been starting right away. It's been pretty good. I've been driving it around, just enjoying it. Plenty of power in this thing now. Like, it's crazy. All right. I'm trying to do this left hand, blip it up. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I'll get some shots when I'm back there, but I mean, warmed up, we're sitting at some pretty good oil pressure. Temp, it does not get hot at all. It's really good with that aluminum radiator that I ordered from Champion, I believe. It's a 4-core, it's like upgraded, it's pretty beefy. Got to secure that in place. But let's get some rear shots. And with that, that's probably going to wrap up this video. This has been definitely an experience for engine swaps as far as big block swaps. I mean, she's all there. There's some small things that I gotta still sort out, but you know, that's just how it is with these projects, is they just go and go, man, until you eventually have nothing to do, but that's where you get more. But yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share the video if you got, you know, somebody interested in cars and stuff like that. I always appreciate the views and the shares. Comment anything, share your thoughts, what you think about what I did, if you think it's lame or cool. But yeah, thank you for watching. Peace.
Do they have chickens? Oh, no, they sound like they have pigeons.
It's a chicken whisperer.
He's following you.